to race his way into this one. Let's give it another try on this green flag. The outlaw says it's go time, and the field does the rest. Jackson catfishing around the bottom, Newell to the outside, and Cody King ends up being the odd man out as he put his nose in between that pair of sevens and had to get on the binders.
Yeah, Cody King was living to fight another day. He could have pushed the issue on that, but if he had, he would have been putting his nose into a hole that was way too small as Brayton Skaggs on the front.
From Lebanon, Missouri will lead him around here again. Jackson jumping out in front on this start. Schultz and Newell behind him. They're 3 across on the exit of turn number 2 in multiple spots in the field. Jackson flies up the racetrack. J.C. Newell sees an opening, and they drag race to the flag stand. Newell by a nose that time around as Jackson immediately battles right back and gets 3 car lengths in front of Newell.
Boy, Jackson just shot straight up the track, and that opened the door for J.C. Newell. But Jackson was quick to get back on the accelerator and work back around him in turns 3 and 4. Now he'll have a 5-car length advantage over J.C. Newell. Then it's back to Schultz, King, and now Andy Bryant looks to the inside of Jake Richards.
Andy Bryant passing somebody on the inside, not what you're used to seeing. But the flyer from Fort Scott, Kansas will clear the snake and get around the 7J. See if the 28 doesn't try to work its way to the top of the track as the area up toward the cushion starts to come in. Jackson will take his lane right through the middle of 3 and 4. And as Chris comes around to the flag stand, he's now got a 1.5 second advantage over J.C. Newell, and Newell now has company. Here comes the 5'10 of Cody King.
Big mess over in turn number
5 down, 15 to go as the B-Mods get back at it. Jackson fires down the backstretch, leaving J.C. Newell and Cody King to fight side by side. King throws it in hard to the bottom of turn number 4, but it'll be Newell getting the run off the high side that holds on to the number 2 spot. Another car exiting at the last possible moment. That's Brayton Skaggs. He makes the hard right-hand turn over in turn number 2, and Andy Bryant is trying to make his way to the front now as he slides up in front of Schultz. Schultz tries to cross him over as that's a battle for 4th.
And he has gotten back up to where he's normally going to run in that number 28 for Andy Bryant. He stayed down around the bottom as long as he could just to navigate through traffic, and now he's going to get on the cushion. You call him the Fort Scott Flyer for a reason. He flies around the top side of the track. He is securely in the top 5.
Another man who's flying is J.C. Morton. J.C. rolled off 13th. And is all the way up to 8th now as he has picked up 5 spots in the 18 as he is trying to reel in Jake Richards. Schultz, that rounds out your top 5, and here we go again. Striegel waving that green flag. Newell, King, and Bryant go 3 across on the exit of turn number 2. J.C. Morton out around Jake Richards now and then dives to the inside. Morton picks up another spot. Jackson gets away clean again, yet another restart, and not a misstep for the driver from Lebanon, Missouri. That new business, he and his cousin Tony Jackson Jr. Shane working on these J2 race cars, and every time we go to the pits, we're seeing that J2 sticker on the side of more and more race cars every week.
And there's more on the way from what we hear from talking to some guys in the pits. Corey, I tell you, the one thing that has me excited about this race right now is Andy Bryant, who's up to 2nd. He has been able to navigate traffic and stay with Chris Jackson while Chris has been alone all by himself, just picking and choosing wherever he wants to go. You've got to think that the 28 may have a little bit more than what Chris Jackson does. He just has to get to him first.
Right now he's got to the 5'10 of Cody King, slides up in front of the driver from Oklahoma, then gets a run off the top of turn number 2. King falls in line in that battle for 2nd place with the driver from Fort Scott, Andy Bryant. Bryant now well over 110 race wins in his career, and he is still just a pup in racing years. King not going anywhere, though, as they continue to go side by side. Jackson enjoying his time alone out in front, and Terry Schultz and J.C. Newell battling for fourth, as Newell, Shane, is kind of bobbled and fallen back a couple spots, and then a big bounce for King. He just got airborne and wheel hopped over in two. That opened the door for Andy Bryant as Bryant bears down on him and will slide up in front again to take over that number 2 spot. But I think that bad spot over in between 1 and 2 is found. He will chase the field around into turn number 4 right as the green flag drops, and it's another clean getaway for your race leader. As Jackson sees the field line up behind him, Andy Bryant gets the better of Cody King in the 5-10. We are off and running once again. 1, 2, 3. Jackson, Bryant, King, then Terry Schultz. And here comes J.C. Morton around J.C. Newell as they two Allen Auto Sports cars fly off of turn number 2 now.
Andy Bryant, after going to the inside, may have found something. He had some speed, but then he will plow up the track in turn 4, and that opens the door for Cody King. King to the inside, grabs the spot. King's going to return the favor as he shoots straight up the track in turn 2, allowing Bryant to get to his inside.
Hard to keep that momentum going in one direction right now. They bounce off of turn number 4. King bounces out in front, holds on to the number 2 spot. About a second behind your race leader, Chris Jackson. J.C. Morton is around J.C. Newell, and now the standout from Springfield is in the top 5, but only has a couple more laps to try and move up any further. Jackson now underneath the flag stand with 2 laps to go. King bounces through turn number 1 again, but Bryant a good 3 car lengths behind him, and they are all spread out in the top 5, 6 spots now, Shane. Single file through the track as we come to the white flag. Chris Jackson underneath the stand and just has one more circuit around. King will remain in second. Bryant's not going to be able to catch him in third. The only real battle is for fifth between J.C. Morton and J.C. Newell, as Chris Jackson is going to go to the victory lane for the 7th time this season at the Diamond of Dirt tracks.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without my guys. We blew up our motor last night at Lebanon, and luckily Jim was working on a guy's motor, and he allowed us to use it tonight. My new motor's just not quite done. This is about the time of year when we put a fresh one in, and we just kind of pushed it a little bit too late. Had probably one too many races on that thing, and we just asked a little too much out of it. And you know, their race motors are not built to last; they're built to perform. So I can say one thing: that thing don't owe me nothing. I'm gonna bury that one with pride.
He paces them through turns 3 and 4, sees that orange cone, presses down on the loud pedal, and we're underway with the late models. Not how Will Vaught wanted to start the race, going straight up the track, gives up 2 positions, but he is quickly hammered down, and then they accordion back behind him. Finnewald got involved with it. McCoyne got involved with it. So Finnewald's going to lose a couple of spots as Ferris and the Hammer check out up front.
Larry Ferris and Cole Henson ran around the track well earlier tonight in the heat race. And right now they have got a clear run at this one as they are all alone 1 and 2. Then it's Jones battling momentarily with Vaught, and Vaught now back into it. Looks like the 72 may be having some handling issues as Vaught continues to fight that car, but he does have it solidly in third right now, as now the 0X of Jason Civils is going to retire 3 laps in.
Yeah, it didn't take him long at all. He was having major issues, so he is now checked off the track. And this is the one thing, Corey, that we've noticed about this late model division, where in some of the other classes, you can get the benefit of a caution to bunch the field back up and then be able to pick them off. We have seen these late model features go green-white checker. Now, given we're going to go extra laps in this one, as it's a 1,000 to win late model payday, 25 times around for the late models, but once they get spread out, for the most part, they can navigate a track pretty well and not bring out a caution. And right now, Larry Ferris is caught up with lap traffic. First one to go a lap down is going to be the 16-year-old, just turned late model driver, used to
restart.
With the start that Will Vaught had on the initial green flag, could it be Groundhog Day all over for him again, getting off to a bad start? He will get tagged by Becker and hang on to it, not spin it out off of turn 2, so he'll fall 4 car lengths behind your race leader in Ferris, with Henson sandwiched between the two, and now the damage on Becker's car has cost him a couple of spots as he is going to drop back outside the top 5. Battle for second now starting to shape up as Will Vaught looks to the inside, dive bombs inside Cole Henson. Henson's able to motor off of turn 2 and hang on, turn 4 and hang on to that position as Chad Richwine now. This is Larry Ferris. Tries to break away from Cole Henson and Will Vaught again. As we've completed 7 of 25 laps, and Cole Henson pogo sticks through turn 2. Able to hang on to it, but Will Vaught will capitalize. He takes second away, and now the crosshairs are on the back bumper of the 51 as Vaught has moved up to second.
But Ferris pulling away, 1.1 seconds the difference between he and Henson. But Vaught looks like he's got that Moon Brothers Racing 72 ready to roll, and he tries to cut down the differential with a good run off of turn number 4 now. Trying to track down Ferris in that 51. And Shane, you notice a different line that time for Henson through 1 and 2. He would have tagged it higher.
Wasn't going to make that mistake again, as now he is rim riding around the top. And now Johnny Finewald, who had to go all the way to the tail back after that caution early, he is now knocking on the door of a top 5. He is in 6th now. Top 3 cars are all spread out. Then it's Dalton Emhoff, Tucker Cox, and Johnny Finewald. They are running 4, 5, 6. Todd McCoyne is in there as well in the number 7s. That's really the only action for position right now, as Ferris has completely straightawayed Will Vaught running up front. Vaught will have to get around the car of Bob Cummings. Cummings goes high on the track, will yield way to the 72 and let him pass by. Next up to go a lap down in front of the 51 of Larry Ferris is the newcomer and the number 90 of Bobby Procise.
Ricky Bobby. Ricky Bobby about to be a lap down. If you're not first,
and
you're last.
Contact over in 4 as about another restart here as Will Vaught on the high side will get a run and try to make a pass off of turn 4 on Larry Ferris, but Ferris stays in the gas and he will get out in front of the 72. Dalton Emhoff having a good top 5 run. He's back in 5th. Looks on the outside of the 7 of Todd McCoyne.
The man who's got to make some hay right now, Shane, is the driver of the other 21, Cole Henson. You talked about it off the top of the night. One of the tightest points battles is in the late models. Only 14 points were separating Cole Henson and Johnny Finewald coming into the night. Now, Cole Henson is still driving. Johnny Finewald is in the pits. This is an opportunity for him to get a little bit of breathing room going into the Renfrew Memorial Championship race next Saturday.
And Johnny Finewald can do no better than 10th right now. Can do no worse than 10th. Well, I take that back. Bob Cummings has now gotten a lap back. So Finewald's going to drop back to 11th. But now Ferris will dispose of the number 6. Put him another lap down, and what we have seen Johnny Finewald do on a number of occasions and get out by a huge advantage, Larry Ferris will do the exact same, as it is again another entire straightaway over Will Vaught.
4.3 seconds, the differential between first and second, as Ferris just has that 51 rolling like a freight train. As the 72 gets to the line, Ferris is coming out of turn 2.
Cole Henson in the 21. It's going to be a big point payoff for him And he'll be able to get a little bit more cushion back that he had earlier on in the year as McCoyne goes to the inside of Cummings. Emhoff thought about going outside, now will dip to the inside, and he will get around the 6. While Larry Ferris puts another car a lap down as he gets around the 5 of DJ Barnes.
Ferris with 5 laps to go puts the 16-year-old driver a lap down. Dalton Emhoff, Shane, you've talked about it a couple of times, having a good run here tonight. Not his season best. 2 times he's finished in 3rd here, but with 5 laps to go, chance to maybe to pick up at least another spot, maybe 2, and tie that season best 3rd.
And give DJ Barnes some credit in this. He was a pure stock, factory stock driver. They got to thinking midway through the year, hey, let's make a jump up and go to a stock car. And said, no, let's just go right on up to a late model. And on a track that has not been conducive for handling, DJ's been able to pretty much keep it straight, not have any issues, and the 16-year-old doing a pretty darn good job of motoring around the track.
Sold his pure stock for $12,000, bought that for $11,000, and what all of the drivers that have run against him at Moberly always say is he is one of the cleanest racing 16-year-olds you ever find. He doesn't like to tear up his stuff, and he doesn't tear up yours.
White flag out for Larry Ferris. Ferris missed the first couple of weeks of the season. When he came back just as fast as anyone else. He will cruise to his 2nd win of the season. He won back in May, and he will win in August as he blankets the field, winning by almost 7 seconds.
Yeah, track definitely had a lot of character tonight. I was kind of just holding on there at the end.
It will be Blackburn and Ledford leading us around as the USRA Modifieds come screaming to life. Blackburn's car knew how to move through traffic. We'll see how he does out front, but we won't get very far as Josh Dugan combining to make row number 2. We'll try to get this one going green again. Blackburn trying to set a blazing pace through the bottom of 1 and 2. You see Ledford kind of bounce his way through the middle of the turn. And that 16S is screaming. It will run off of turn number 4. Have about a 2-car length advantage over the 75 of Ledford, who's just 1 groove up on the racetrack. High down the back stretch, and now Blackburn will come up to the top of the track to meet him. Look at the 22 making the move now, or pardon me, that's the 75 still holding on to 2nd. The 73 will see the field fall in line behind him as he sees the orange cone and gets back at it. Batter trying to bully his way into 2nd and has that clean. Side-by-side racing between Hodges and Ledford. As the 22 and the 75 roll through 3 and 4. That's a good run off the top of 4 for Ledford, as he tries to hold on to that podium spot right now. Meanwhile, Blackburn able to get out and boogie once again. Jason Pursley rounds out the top 5 here, Shane, as the top 5 competitors out there able to kind of get some spacing, get a little room to race, and then it's kind of a bottleneck back behind him as you see Peyton Phillips go up the track, nearly run into Chase Jones, and veteran Tracy Wolf all there in a 3-car clump.
Yeah, give Peyton Phillips some kudos of not getting too high on the track and getting into Chase Jones. Now Jones has cleared him. He's decided to go well high on the track. And Dylan McCowan, who really hasn't been able to do much of anything, he's been back there with the Dowls of the world. And now Tracy Wolf right in front of him as the 8, just not really able to make any progress at all.
McCowan trying to make his way through the field, but hard to get around a good driver like Tracy Wolf. Wolf keeps him behind. Meanwhile, the 16 of Blackburn is just rolling around the racetrack, right around the bottom through 1 and 2. Batter follows his line. as Ledford gives chase as well. They run 1-2-3 with Blackburn enjoying a greater than a 2-second advantage over the 73 of Shad Batter.
Boy, Dr. Leadfoot got real high over in turns 3 and 4. Kicked up a lot of dirt up on that berm, but able to get back into the loud pedal. And now Chase Jones around Jason Pursley. So the 0-3 having a really good run here for Chase Jones.
Jones through the middle of 3 and 4. Pursley to his inside. Pursley, always one of those catfish, likes to keep it around the bottom of the racetrack, but having to adjust that line tonight for some of the character that this track has been showing the drivers. Peyton Phillips behind him. Payday in the 98 behind Pursley. Blackburn continues to grow his lead. He's now got almost a 3-second advantage over Batter, the Mate City, Missouri driver. Pile into the 73. Ledford all alone in third, and another big gap back to Jones in fourth, and then it starts to tighten up from fifth on back. Pursley trying to hold Phillips back. Peyton Phillips gets a nose under the principal. He starts to slide up in front of him, and Pursley pulls alongside as they shoot down the back. Phillips this time goes to the top of the track, flirts with the cushion a little bit, and maybe got a little too close to the cushion as Pursley pulls away.
Yep, not the first time that's happened for him as he gets way high on the track. 3-car battle there underneath the flag stand as Jeff Cutshaw back behind the wheel of the 98 after taking a couple of years of a sabbatical. He's now back out and right back to where he typically is on a track, as now you see Chase Jones on the inside in the 0-3. Tries to make the move around Dr. Leadfoot, who was running top 5 most of the night. And now Ledford is in reverse. His car is starting to pass him on the inside.
And that car is Chase Jones. The body's by Bill Jones Power Sport, SF Trucking and Cattle Company. Phoenix chassis, Larry Jones engine. Saw Larry run in his late model a little while ago. The 0-3 of Jones solidly in the number 3 spot right now. But boy, Kevin Blackburn is just rolling. Now a 4-second lead as he'll come underneath the flag stand. Shad Batter trying to keep up, but he can't. He loses another 1/10 of a second that time around. Blackburn without a win as far as USRA racing or My Race Pass goes. 0 wins, 10 top 5s, 12 top 10s this year, and he is 3 laps away as now he'll try to put Jimmy Dow down a lap. As he gets his nose underneath the 88, Dow gives him the lane, and your race leader rolls off the bottom of turn number 4. We'll see the sticks side by side for Mike Striegel, saying 2 more laps.
What Larry Ferris did in a late model, Kevin Blackburn is doing much the same thing in a modified, as he has now gapped Shad Batter by 4.5 seconds.
He will roll under the white flag and know that he has only got 1 more circuit around. Batter just now under the flag stand, 4.6 seconds behind. Kevin Blackburn from Fulton, Missouri. He's going to take that MB Custom race car all the way to victory lane. Blackburn gets it done tonight on Public Safety Appreciation Night presented by Color 10.
Oh yeah, definitely is. I can't thank the Smiths enough. They pulled me in to run this thing last year, and we popped off some good wins. We had a really good, successful season. We've been fast this year. We've been there, we've been there, we've been there, and we've been there, but we couldn't get a win. So I'm proud. This is my first ever win at Wheatland. We raced a bunch here when I was a kid, 08, 09 era, but we ain't been back a lot, and proud to be standing up here, guys.
We'll start on the point. Ned Griggs, he's looking for extra money. He won at Dallas County last night. If he can motor to victory lane, he'll get a little bit of a bonus put on by both tracks as the green flag is in the air, and Ed Griggs wants the extra money. He gets out quickly ahead of James McMillin, but McMillin will come fighting back on the inside as Johnny Coates goes rim riding around the outside. That is a powerful number 35. He's got it clean. He's got it straight. Not a single dent on it. First time out for the 35. And he's having a great run up front, but it is still side by side. Now McMillin with the advantage by a car length off of turn number 2. Tanner Calhoun spun it around in turn 4. He'll go into the infield very wisely and keep us green. As Ed Griggs comes powering back on the inside, a side-by-side battle for the lead.
McMillin, though, on the outside has that Gator Graphics green and white 8 rolling. He keeps the 31 of Psycho Ed Griggs pinned to the inside. His teammates 31 now coming to a stop on the infield. Off the top of turn number 4, that 8 gets a pretty good run, but it's Griggs holding on to the top spot for another moment. Side-by-side racing for third between Coates and David Hendricks.
Down on the right pedal, and away we go as the green back in the air. And now with that car length advantage he had over Ed Griggs, he's able to keep that. And now another car rolls, and this is Darren Phillips over in turn number 1, coming out from underneath. Nothing major as of yet, but the Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew will get there, and now it does start to get more major. Plenty of fire coming out from underneath the hood. They will quickly go over and look to extinguish it and get Darren Phillips out. He does climb out on his own. We see him over in turn number 2 walking away from the car that is on its top, but as McMillin off of turn 4 has Griggs in tow, Johnny Coates stays on the loud pedal as well as they line out single file. Now David Hendricks ducks to the inside. He's going to try to grab third away from Johnny Coates and will down the backstretch. Can he hang on to it as Coates has the momentum on the high side? Griggs cuts down, has to break the momentum that Hendricks had, but he's able to get back into it. And now Griggs will get out in front of James McMillin. Is tonight the night that Ed Griggs picks up his first win at Lucas Oil Speedway?
Psycho looking strong out in front of the field, but McMillin not wanting to let him enjoy it. He pulls up alongside the passenger side door of the Crump Excavation 31, but McMillin not going anywhere. Pulls up alongside him again as they work their way through 3 and 4. Hendricks all alone in third, but Johnny Coates and Rob White trying to catch up to the Buckhorn Bullet. Those are your top 5. Burl Woods, the first one on the outside looking in, as the racer from Republic has that red and white 26 all alone in 6th.
James McMillin now back around the outside of Ed Griggs, off of turn 4 by nearly a full car length underneath the flag stand, then a good 3 or 4 car lengths more back to David Hendricks, but Griggs comes fighting back on the inside again. Seems as though off of turn 2, Griggs is able to get around McMillin, but then off of turn 4, McMillin returns the favor as he's back out by another car length.
And if you had to ask me where I'd like to get the better run as a race car driver, it'll always be off of turn number 4 when it's winning time. That Gator Graphics 8 continues to work the high side with Griggs pinned to his inside, and he's always, so far, 8 laps in, able to clear the 31 when they come to the flag stand.
And if you remember, that is how James McMillin got around Scotty Allen for his win here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Scotty Allen was going for 3 in a row, and James McMillin got around him on the very last turn.
And honestly, as good as that Thunderstang had been in the 2 previous wins, I didn't know that anybody was going to beat Scotty. I thought Scotty wasn't going to lose until he was too busy to come to the racetrack and defend. But that was James McMillin had something different in mind, and he's got something different in mind here as he keeps his car out in front of Griggs as we're halfway home.
Again, through the turns, Griggs is able to get right up side by side, but then on corner exit, that is where the horsepower from the 8 comes to fruition as he's able to get back out in front. Again, Griggs in front, but then McMillin at the line. Griggs got into him there midway through and got it a little bit closer. Now Griggs jumps over in turn number 2, hits a rut, shoots up the track, and that's going to cost him as he's now 3 car lengths behind the 8.
He's really going to have to keep his nose down here, otherwise McMillin's going to get a bigger lead, and that's the biggest differential they've had at the line in the last 8 laps. Almost 0.4 of a second. That was all the difference between the 8 and the 31. The Buckhorn Bullet still on an island all by himself in third with nobody for half a lap behind him until you run into the 3 cars, Rob White, Johnny Coates, and Burl Woods.
And that's starting to get real interesting because Rob White Jr. had gotten around Coates and had gotten a pretty good gap in between. I don't know if it's the 5-car going away, but the fact that now Burl Woods has been able to get up into that and make it a 3-car battle, got to think that the 35 and the 26 have just gotten it figured out a little better than Rob White Jr. does right now, even though the 5 is still in front.
They're both a lot further up the racetrack than is the 5, but they aren't getting any closer right now. And now you've got a lap car in between your race leader in McMillin and the 31 of Ed Griggs, but Griggs is like, I'm not going to let Craig Wright stay in front of me for very long. All of that has allowed David Hendricks now to inch a little bit closer to your top 2 cars. He will get around the 24 as well, and they go 1, 2, 3, follow the leader back into 1.
And again, I say that one bobble that Ed Griggs had after he had made up some ground on James McMillin at the flag stand has really kind of done the 31 in because he has not really been able to get back to the door of the 8. It's been about a 3 or 4 car length advantage every lap that the 8 has had over the 31. Now Johnny Coates is back on the accelerator. He's going way to the high side after he had given the position up to Rob White Jr. The 35 will come storming back, get out in front by half a car length, climb the ladder again, and off of turn 4. Can he make the pass? With just a couple of laps left, he can. As now lap traffic in front of James McMillin. He'll get through the meat of the sandwich between the 2 cars as the white flag will come out for McMillin.
McMillin was much closer to the 31, Shane, but Ed Griggs took a huge hop and went airborne in between 1 and 2, and that's led McMillin to his biggest lead of the night over the 31.
Half a straightaway for McMillin over Ed Griggs off of turn 4 for the 3rd time this year. James McMillin will make his way to victory lane over Ed Griggs and David Hendricks, and now a 3-wide battle for 4th is going to go to Coates, and then at the line, Burl Woods will get past Rob White Jr.
I think that's what's cool about these stock cars. They're all pretty even, really. If you get 4 or 5 of them up there, that's most fun you can have in a race car.